Assalamu alaikum dear students. Hopefully you all are enjoying good health by the grace of Almighty Allah. As you know, we are starting a new chapter today of your biology 10th textbook, that is pharmacology. We will discuss some of the important short question, long question as well as MCQs in these topics inshallah. While starting this chapter, the first definition is of pharmacology. What is pharmacology? Pharmacology is the study of drug composition, properties, and medical application. The sources of drugs are also studied in pharmacology. Next is an important definition as well, that is define drug. What is drug? Any substance that when absorbed into the body of a living organism alters the normal body function is known as a drug. Another question includes write types of drugs. Drugs are broadly classified into two types. These types would be discussed later. Before studying these types, we will study the definition of pharmacy. Pharmacology is not synonymous with pharmacy, which is the name used for a profession, though in common usage the two terms are confused. If we discuss some of the important MCQs, the sources of drugs are also discussed in pharmacology. There are two types of drugs. Pharmacology is not synonymous with pharmacy. Pharmacy is used for a profession. Next, we are studying the types of drugs. There are major two types of drugs. One is pharmaceutical drug and number two is addictive drug. Medicinal drugs or pharmaceutical drug is defined as any chemical substance used in the diagnosis, cure, treatment or prevention of disease. What are addictive drugs? Some drugs often make person dependent on them or addicted. These may be called addictive drugs. By using such drug, the person's body becomes familiar to it and the user can't function well without it. An important short question is taken from this block, that is differentiate between prescription and non-prescription drugs. Prescription and non-prescription drugs, the difference between these two types of drugs is given in this block. If we study some of the MCQs, then the second name for pharmaceutical drug is medicinal drug. The drugs which make person dependent on them or addictive are called addictive drugs. The drug which is used in diagnosis, cure, treatment or prevention of disease is called medicinal or pharmaceutical drug. Another MCQ includes, until 1890, the subject of pharmacology was known as materia medica. This is also an important MCQ on this page. Next, well students, the first type of drugs, that is medicinal or pharmaceutical drug, has been discussed. Next, medicinal drugs, write sources of drugs. This is the first short question on this page. Drugs are obtained from following sources. There are 5 sources of drugs have been discussed over here. Number 1 is synthetic drugs. Number 2 is drugs from plants and fungi. Number 3 is drugs from animals. Number 4, drugs from minerals. And number 5, drugs from bacteria. These are the 5 major sources of drugs from which drugs can be obtained, right? Different short question can be asked in the form of define synthetic drugs. How drugs from plants and fungi are obtained. Then answer of this question is over here. And there is the answer of define synthetic drugs. Such drugs don't occur naturally but are synthesized in laboratory. Pharmaceutical companies produce these drugs, for example, aspirin. Likewise, is the source of drugs from plants and fungi. If we discuss some of the MCQs on this page, then the first MCQ would be aspirin is a synthetic drug. The drugs which are obtained from plants and fungi include the medicines, antibiotics. Drugs from plants and fungi include medicines like antibiotics, cardiotonics, and certain analgesics. The antibiotic penicillin comes from a fungus. The cardiotonic, known as digitalis, is used to stimulate the heart. Foxglove is a plant used for making cardiotonic. This is the last MCQ on this page. The short question on this page includes how drugs from animals can be obtained. Drugs obtained from animals are usually their glandular products, fish liver oils, musk, beeswax. Certain hormones and antitoxins are obtained from animal sources. MCQ on this page include, first MCQ is many addictive illegal drugs, for example marijuana, are also obtained from plants. The pain reliever morphine is made from opium, which comes from the juice of opium poppy plant. Well students, these were some of the important short questions and MCQs in these topics. We will discuss the next sources of drugs in the next video inshallah. Okay, thank you students.